So, first things first, let's deal with this. If I can just find it. If I can find it. So, we're talking about a full moon wealth portal, not because we thirsty for money, but because we're going to study the magnifiers of earth energy. Just think about how if you put a magnifying glass on top of an ant and the sun shines through that magnifying glass at a particular angle, it'll start to cook the ant because the magnifying glass has intensified the sun's energy. So when you think about the sun is radiating light, radiating heat, radiating energy along the planet. And some of those radiations and ideations come from extraterrestrial entities and concepts. So it might seem really random if you don't study the science. However, when you do study the science, it isn't as random as it first seems. When we talk about wealth and we talk about good ideas, that was a person who utilized the magnification of solar energy into their mind to develop something in this world that brings them wealth or brings them fortune. So, this is what the quote unquote elites and higher ups do in reference to regular people. You can do this too. Because when we reference the elites, when we reference the higher ups, we're referencing normal everyday people just like you. The only difference is they have a particular knowledge or a particular gnosis in reference to this information. So, this is what I want to talk about today: the rituals in reference to the full moon, and what are the planetary alignments good for. Now, in reference to this full moon, the sun is in Sidereal Virgo, conjunct the fixed star of Spica. So, when you look at the fixed star Spica, we're talking about alien entities and energies that help you transcend regular mundane knowledge through the modality of rituals working with the sun and the moon. When we look at Spica, there is a specific mythology pertaining to Spica. So one's in the chat if you see that the sun is conjunct Spica. Once you come to that realization that the sun is conjunct Spica, then you see that the Spica fixed star election for wealth and good fortune. Put an additional one in the chat if some wealth and good fortune sounds like a good idea, something that you may want to tap into, right? And it's very hard for people to grasp alien cosmic entities, but at the same time, they will be able to grasp the concept of God. There is no difference between stars, God, entities, astrological alignments that have a particular angle or energy associated with it. It's only when you don't look up and understand and overstand a wandering star that is traveling along the elliptical in conjunction in unison of constellations that everything in your life is just a random set of experiences that either pan or don't pan out. This sincerity in my message is, if you're looking for a way to make it, if you're looking for an influx in finances, tonight is the night to do a money ritual. Spica, and I'm gonna get into just the many different points of why tonight is a good night to do a money ritual or have the intention of money based upon the astrological alignments. If it was just conjunct the fixed star Spica, I would just say, may or may not work. But then when you have a full moon in the Ashwini Nakshatra, you have a celebration to the goddess of Lakshmi, the goddess of prosperity and wealth, in reference to Hindu astrology, cosmology. See, the normal person is not going to bear witness to the full moon. What is the reason that the spiritual person bear witness to the full moon? So they can get some shit manifested for themselves, not just for, you know, shits and giggles. So under the spike, they made the image of a bird or a man laden with merchandise. Spica confers riches and makes one overcome contentions as it scares away scarcity and mischief. In astrological magic. So let's look at that word real quick. What is astrological magic? Quite simple. It's the magic that we do in unison with the astrological planetary configurations. It's a time and a place for everything. A good analogy, I've said this analogy before, but those who've never heard it, if the store is open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., and I go to the store at 8 p.m., and I'm trying to get something to eat because I haven't ate all day, then I'm going to starve. And then I'm going to think that the whole idea of a grocery store is a scam. All because I don't understand and understand that is a time and a place for everything. So when we are introducing concepts such as divination and magic, and we're not introducing astrological truths, then we are on the outside looking in. And the reason why this is because even when we talk about astrology, we're not talking about real astrology a lot of times. Most people want to pick and choose in reference to if they want to deal with tropical astrology or if they want to deal with sidereal astrology or Vedic astrology as if it's a choice. And it can be a choice, but that's kind of like saying I grew up driving horses. So therefore, there's no reason for me to get a car because I know how to drive a horse. So when it comes for me to go cross country and I hop on my horse, I might seem like it's a good idea because I was introduced with traveling through horses, but the reality of an anchoring bias is that new information is being presented to us every single day, even more so with technology and artificial intelligence. Most people don't interface with artificial intelligence is because they're anchored into a world of analog where you don't need artificial intelligence. Most people don't deal with sidereal astrology because they are anchored into Western tropical astrology. The anchoring bias is a cognitive bias that causes us to rely heavily on the first piece of information we are given about a topic. So, when in the spiritual community, when you present them things outside of what Brother Panic Bobby Hemmett have taught, they cannot receive it. When you tell people things outside of what they initially learned, they don't receive it. Why don't they receive it? Because they are interpreting newer information from the reference point of the anchor and not seeing it objectively. So when I say that the sun is in Virgo, it's undeniable that the sun is in Virgo. It's not in Libra. That's an objective truth. But within the spiritual community, they will say that the sun is in Libra because they were taught to only look at a specific way of thinking. And this is always going to retard your spiritual growth. It's always going to slow your spiritual growth because, in reference to the modalities of spirituality, it's very much real and concrete on how these things are brought to the surface. From talking to aliens, talking to angels, talking to demons, talking to God, there is no differentiation on the particular theme. What is going to block you from that is that your initial information is going to hold you back. So when we teach metaphysical things, they're introduced in a realistic paradigm, just so you can begin to grasp it. So in order to grasp astrology, it's easier to digest, right? Every sign is 30 degrees in a perfect 360-degree circle. No, when we look at Virgo, we're looking at a constellation that is 52 days long. If you were born between September 16th and October 30th, you are a Virgo. If you were born August 10th through September 16th, you are a Leo. That's the truth. But people got tattoos saying that they're a Libra because they were born October 17th. Got a Libra tattoo. Because you were somebody told you that when your birthday is born September 23rd from October 22nd, you classify as a Libra. But that is the first, that's the entryway into the science. It's a reason why they say Libras have a certain quality over Scorpios, or Scorpios have a certain quality over Cancers, because the ways for which the sun radiates is going to be to a different degree depending on where the sun is at along the ecliptic rather. And every other planet that is a wandering star, sun, moon, Mars, Mercury, Venus, Saturn, Jupiter, the classical 7 planets, each planet speaks to a chakra in your body that gives you extraterrestrial knowledge. So the difference of having wrong astrological lineups is the difference between having wrong ridges in your key. If you have wrong ridges in your key, you will not be able to open up your door. But it is a key. So the more that I present myself online is also the more that I study astrology, and the more that I'm not afraid to talk about the reality of the astrological wheel. So from September 16th to October 30th, the sun is going to be in Virgo. So while the sun is in Virgo, Virgo deals with wheat, with harvest, with money, with finances. One of the most prominent stars in Virgo is the fixed star Spica that has a particular intelligence that can help us, whether it's coming to cultivate our farms, build up our careers, figure out what we want to do in life, manifesting an idea that we've been working on for these past 6 months, like really getting in tune with how we're going to move forward in life. And ultimately, for the individual in the modern times, that is the most important thing, having your money together, because you can fall in love, you could, do all of these fun things, but in this world today, if your Virgo understanding isn't together, you're going to struggle in every area outside of finances. It may not be what you want to hear. It may not be how you like it, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. If you're a rich person, if you have a lot of money, nobody's going to take it from you. If you don't have no money, if you don't have your stuff together, nobody is going to help you. So I say all of this to say, deal with the aliens, deal with the cosmological conversations in reference to the sun and the fixed moon Spica. So once again, I know the initial resistance to what I'm saying is the fact that, how am I going to talk to aliens? And I'm going to try to break it down. If I could just find it. If I can just find it. Maybe I deleted it. Give me 1 second. Just use this one. No, I'll use this one. We can go Spica. So once again, you can ask me for some money. You can ask your friends for some money, but it's much easier to talk to uh aliens. The aliens will put you together, right? The aliens know more about getting money than anything. So Spica astrology. We're on astrologyking.com looking up the fixed star Spica. Just to be clear, fixed star Spica is the alpha star, meaning that it's the brightest star of Virgo. Virginis is just the Virgo constellation. So y'all make it make sense. Y'all got to read this with y'all own eyes, because people will say that don't make sense. How can, if the sun joins Spica on October 16th and Spica is in the Virgo constellation? One's in the chat if y'all can read that. We're on astrologyking.com. You can read it for yourself. If Spica is in the Virgo constellation and the sun joins Spica on October 16th, right? Then that means that the sun is still in Virgo in real life, objectively. And this matters the same way as if I gave you a key, but the ridges weren't exactly aligned to the lock, you wouldn't be able to open the door. So, what I'm trying to do in this conversation is for you to clear your mind and simply open the door to wealth consciousness. Spica, spice. I'm sure that when you say spica, spice, you also talking about wheat, grains, minerals. It all reverts back to agriculture. But agriculture in this day and age is just getting your shit together, right? Having a system that works for you. In the space of not having a system, hoping and wishing and not knowing how to elevate and activate yourself. So Spica derives from Latin Spica virginis, which means Virgo's ear of grain. In Hindu, Spica corresponds to Nakshatra Shitra. So according to Ptolemy, Spica has the nature of Venus, wisdom, enlightenment, Mars, action. So the nature of Venus is more of having a wise and enlightened action, meaning that you know what it is you need to do because you're getting information from a higher source. You're raising your vibration and your mental above the fray and frequency of the lower frequency. Spica gives success, renown, riches, a sweet disposition, love of art and science, unscrupulousness, unfruitfulness, and injustice to the innocent. Meaning that it's not about to cater to weakness. It's not going to cater to ignorance. Sometimes when we look at innocence, another way of looking at innocent is being ignorant, meaning that you don't know. So you don't know and you're a good person, but that's not going to open up the door. You can't walk up to the front door of your house and say, I'm a good person today. I gave a bum some money on the street. Please open the door. You actually need a key. That key is knowledge. So, in reference to being innocent, that's also saying that you don't have the knowledge to move forward, right? When you do have the knowledge, you have a later justification with eminence, renown, and riches. Once again, where does the knowledge come from? It comes from higher consciousness, extraterrestrial entities. Christians call it God, Muslims call it Allah. This person believes in Allah, but cannot bring forth an image of Allah because this person has to believe in Allah. They have to believe in God because they can't see it, nor can they conjure up a system to bring it to display. And I'm not judging, but don't judge a person studying astrology because even though at least we can see Venus in the sky, one's in the chat. At least we can see Mercury with the telescope. At least we see the moon every night. At least we see the sun every day. We can all point to the sun and say, this is the thing that is heating up the planet. We can all bear witness to the moon and say, when it's in this phase, we produce more crops versus when it is in a whole different phase. We can all bear witness to the moon when we say, oh, I'm tired. I'm about to go to sleep. What is that? That is the energy of the moon pulling on your neuromelanin, flooding your pineal gland with neuromelanin, making it almost impossible for you to wait to stay awake. You ever tried to stay awake and couldn't, like, you ever tried to stay awake and then you like, nah, I just got to go to sleep. Well, that is the tug on the moon. You urinate more, you become more dehydrated. And in the space where you are dehydrated and you're dealing with the full moon, and you're also dealing with high anxiety, high emotions, relationship issues, the moon is going to exacerbate this. This is why things are going to get a lot more crazier today, tomorrow, and the next day, because in reference to the moon, it pulls on your emotional life and your emotional frequency. especially if you have no knowledge or wisdom or any cognizance of the reality of solar, spiritual, planetary influences. Say what you want to say, but where will we be without the sun? It is a people have bear witness to the sun being a powerful force in this planet. So just because we don't actually understand and understand the reality of the influence of Venus and Mercury, let us please just try to think about it when I say that the seven wandering planets control the chakras of the human being. What does that mean when I say that? What it means is that the human being is not like any other species on the planet. Can you bear witness to that, ones in the chat, if you notice that a human being lives differently than a gorilla, lives differently than a tiger, lives differently than a giraffe, lives differently than a bear, lives differently than a shark? The reason that the human being is able to exist differently in the planet is because of the seven planetary influences directly impacting the chakras of the human being, giving the human being knowledge, wisdom, past life memories to then do different things outside of just fucking and eating something. In reference to reflecting, that is Mercury working on behalf of your pineal gland. In reference to speaking, right? Have you ever had an animal come up to you and speak? Because Venus controls the throat chakra. In reference to love, have you ever seen an animal go outside of itself to love you? Because the animal is not impacted by Venus. Have you ever seen an animal build a bridge between a river? Because Jupiter does not impact the solar plexus of the animal. Have you ever seen an animal raise a child, have the child live in the house? You know what I'm saying? Like create a whole entire life, pass down generation to generation, have systems to support a past. Like, no, because we're talking about our solar, we're talking about our sacral chakra. We're talking about our root chakra, and all of these chakras have a specific frequency of a planetary conversation that differs in every human being based upon the planetary alignment. So, once again, we're talking about Spica, and there's two things that I want to talk about in reference to this being a full moon wealth portal. Spica is one of the 15 Bohemian fixed stars. So what is that? What is a Bohemian fixed star? A Bohemian fixed star are a selection of 15 stars considered especially useful for magical applications. One's in the chat if you guys can read that. Because we're talking about occult history and the utilization of space, time, and practice. So we're talking about Spica, and Spica is a Bohemian fixed star, which is derived from the Arabic word meaning roots. So when you look at wealth on the planet, there is a root to all wealth on the planet, and it does not come from human within itself. It comes from planetary information being sent down in reference to a proper magnifier, which the sun is a proper magnifier of fixed star energy. It absorbs and sends out information depending on if it's conjunct Sirius, if it's conjunct Spica, if it's conjunct Antares, so forth and so on. Now, when we're talking about this, if you don't know what I'm talking about and this is new information, then it's easy to throw it out. But I'm talking very slow and very deliberate so you can just understand it from a point of truth, a point of objectivity, so you can understand that the elites only are elite based upon what they know. And you are only going to struggle based upon what you don't know. When we are on this planet and it rains, it's a rich guy and a poor guy standing next to one another. Does the rain stop when it reaches the rich guy and circumvent itself away from the rich guy? Or does it rain on both of them equally? Thus, when we talk about spiritual cosmic power, when it rains upon this planet, it rains on all of us equally, but we just must understand and understand the message. A Bohemian fixed star is considered a source of astrological power. Each is connected with a gemstone and a plant that would be used in rituals meant to draw the star's influence into the talisman. So, for what they would do in ancient times when the sun was conjunct the fixed star Spica, would make a bird talisman and or a man talisman that is carrying merchandise as it confers riches and makes one overcome contentions. Okay. And the herb connected to Spica is going to be sage or wormwood, something that is a banishing herb. So, what I would do is incorporate, and it also had a gemstone. Give me 1 second. If you got these gemstones, if you don't have the gemstones, I would do the ritual anyway. Emerald, I would paint a green emerald. If you don't got canvas, if you don't got paint, you could go get paint from the dollar store. You know what I mean? It's not hard to use your imagination. And you can go to the grocery store and get some sage and just like create your own ritual in reference to the energy associated with this conversation. And then another thing about Spica is that it is on the same it is of another fixed star, Arcturus. So in reference to Arcturus and Spica, so it's on the same longitude. So essentially, when a planet is conjunct Spica, it is also conjunct Arcturus, meaning that they are one and the same. And this leads us into understanding the gateway to higher realms. It's a time to understand about this type of stuff. Give me a second. So I just like to pull these things up so you guys can see a reference of what I am talking about. So one of my psychic guides that I work with a lot of times, he helps me pull me up out of situations a lot of times, or gives me knowledge from time and time again. Edgar Casey. He was a guy in the early 1900s that did hundreds, if not thousands, of readings. And the thing about his readings, they were all recorded. And so a lot of the information that he discussed were recorded and library by his kids. They have an institution on Virginia Beach, right off the beach, called ARE. It's a research center. But in reference to all of this, he talked about Arcturus, and he classified Arcturus as a gateway to higher realms. So nobody has to do anything but observe the timing of it all. The sun or the moon in a heavily aspected condition in reference to the fixed star Arcturus gives us an access point to higher levels of consciousness. And this is what's available now. This is why they do the distractions and court cases and other different things to pull you out of the space and time of the energy of the present reality. Now that the sun is conjunct Spica, it's also conjunct Arcturus, which gives us a gateway to higher levels of consciousness. But you have to be able to quiet the mind and be able to perceive and receive these instructions. Casey's reports that Arcturus is a gateway to higher levels of consciousness, and other dimensions are reiterated in many ways. The challenge in coming to an astrological interpretation based on Casey's material is that we are stuck here on three-dimensional Earth. So, once again, being able to utilize this time for ritual and ritual acts pulls you off of this three-dimensional earth. And one will say, I don't have an emerald, I don't have any sage, I don't know how to stay up all night. A reality into all of this is dealing with the psychedelics. If you haven't done any psychedelics, like you do them, but you took like 6 months off or a year off, this is a good time to tap in. This is a good weekend to tap in, to get off of the three-dimensional earth and deal with the energies that represent higher realms of consciousness that can have a profound effect on people's lives. And once again, it's like, well, how do I randomly just go to the store if it's 3 o'clock in the morning? There is nothing you can do. What can you do if you want to go to Kroger's at 3 a.m. and it's closed? You can break in, you go to jail, but ultimately there is nothing that you can do, especially if the door is chain locked. You have to wait until the store opens again. And the reason that I say that is because when we are understanding the sun conjunct Spica, conjunct Arcturus in reference to a full moon, that is a gateway. That is the time that the store opens. So there is confirmation bias, there's ego, there's arrogance, there is I know everything that there is to know about where I'm going and what I'm doing. And ultimately, that's going to lead to a crash out. So being able to create and curate a ritual, stay up all night, and have an observation of the full moon is what's going to access you to higher realms of consciousness that can have a profound effect on people's lives. But once again, the most important part is that you have to do the work. So, we're another thing in reference to this full moon I want to talk about is, well, first thing, check the link in the description. visit the article Full Moon Great Reset Wealth Portal on the White Rabbit Substack and get all of this information easier and quicker. But I want to talk about the Sharad Purnima. Okay, so we're going to look at this thing and we're going to confer some facts about the information. One's in the chat if you like the video, like the video. If you like the video, share the video. If you haven't shared it with somebody who may need this information, as I'm waiting for this page to load. So tonight, we are experiencing a Sharad Purnima. A Sharad Purnima, or I'm not going to go through all of these names, is a religious festival celebrated on the full moon day of the Hindu lunar month of Ashvin. So once again, we have to do some double checking. Let's do some double checking so we could go to astrology, what is it called? astro-seek.com and look up. If you look over in this little corner, they have all planet nakshatras. Then it opens up and you can see where the moon is at. The moon is in the Ashwin. Nakshatra just means lunar mode or lunar node. This is place that the moon is elevated at. So the moon is presently in the Ashwini Nakshatra. So let's go back to the festival. This is a religious festival celebrated on the full moon day of the Hindu lunar month Ashvin or Ashwin, right? The time is now, marking the end of the monsoon season or hurricane season over in these parts. The full moon night is celebrated in different ways in various cultural regions in the Indian subcontinent. Thus, it can be celebrated any way you feel fit. On this day, many Hindu divine pairs like Radha Krishna, Shiva Parvati, Lakshmi Narayana are worshipped along with Chandra, the moon deity, and are offered flowers and kheer, a sweet dish made of rice and milk. Deities in temples are usually dressed in white, signifying the brightness of the moon. Many people observe the full day fasting on this night. So just to skip through it, I'm going to just show you the importance of the day. The people perform this Virata under the moonlight after fasting for the day. Lakshmi, the Hindu goddess of prosperity, is significantly worshipped on this day. So it's one level of this is just some random thing to do, but another level is from the sun perspective, it's conjunct Spica, that is known for wealth, success, riches. And from the moon perspective, it is in this particular festival that is honoring Lakshmi, the goddess of prosperity. So when I say that this is a wealth portal, I'm not just pulling things out of my ass just to get likes or to watch the video. What I'm trying to do is help people deal with the space and time and understand that there is more to life than the 3D reality. If you understand that there is more to life than the 3D reality, place a 1 in the chat. It is believed that on this day, Lakshmi appeared from the churning of the ocean. Indra, the god of rain, along with the elephant, is also worshipped. This day is celebrated once again by Hindus differently. That's the key point. Do it your own way, but make sense of to why you're doing it, and don't be bashful. You want an idea. You want a large lump sum of money so you can live a good life. You want to know what the higher forms of consciousness have for you. You want to be able to tune into it. Well, you could just hope and pray, take your ass to sleep, wake up, go to work, or you could stay up all night and fast and stay under the moonlight. Call off work if you have to, right? Take something, drink some coffee. For me, if I take me like 2 grams of mushrooms when it gets around 9 p.m., I'm up for the whole night. I got it already perforated in my candy bar. I take 4 little pieces off that candy bar. I'm good to go. You know what I mean? But the day is celebrated by Hindus differently. I'm just showing you the reality of the situation. Like it's a thing. It is believed that Goddess Lakshmi visit people's houses on this night and checks whether they are staying awake and blesses them only if they are awake. And I know what you're saying. I got to get up for early to go to work tomorrow. The rub is cool, but if you stay up, you might be able to quit that damn job. Goddess Lakshmi is an alien that have come to visit millions, billions of people and help them financially. That's how she got her rep. These gods and goddesses, they actually exist. The reason that we are so confused is because we don't even believe that aliens exist. We just don't believe shit that we don't see, and it's too much confusion. And don't nobody believe in God, don't nobody believe in aliens, don't nobody believe in angels, don't nobody believe in demons, and it's all happening around you, especially at night. So the reality of tonight is to stay up, not because Kyrie wants you to stay up, but I want to help you tap into a full moon, great reset wealth portal. And it don't matter if you broke as fuck yesterday. You can come into this energy broke as hell and get the idea you was looking for, right? Get the idea you was looking for. So I really wanted to elucidate that for people, man. Another thing to work with just this week in total is the ashwagandha, right? We got that on columbianexchange.com, but you can get it anywhere. Ashwagandha, man, make sure that's a regular supplement, man, that even for your kids. It's an adaptogen. So it can help your kids, it can help you, it can help your grandma, right? It just get the blood going and it help you focus or help you calm down. It really balances you out, right? It brings you into homeostasis. When I say it's an adaptogen, it helps you with just whatever it is that you need help with. I mean, it like it helped the kids, but it also helped men and women get closer to one another. And it is the herb of the Ashwini Nakshatra. So more information on this type of stuff, just click the link in my description where we get into all of these particular things. And read the article too. Join the Substack to get updated on articles as they drop. Been just, want to lock in tonight and do a ritual for myself, but I didn't feel right if I didn't do it live, and because you never know who this information can help. And I want y'all to understand that this information don't come from me. One's in the chat, if I showed y'all stuff online that was objective reality to whereas you can see it for yourself and understand I'm not trying to force the issue, but I'm just trying to lay out the reality of working with portals, doing magic, doing rituals, understanding the time and space of it all, because you got to do your own shit. Watching the video not going to help you. You got to deal with the magic on your own terms. And I would say this full moon is a perfect time to fuck around and find out, okay? Much love from my heart to your heart, from my family to your family. Let's continue to raise this vibration by doing our work, family. Join the Discord, join the masterminds, tap in, stay turned on, do your work, man. It's very powerful spiritual stuff going on, but we got to be clear minded to do so. With all of that being said, man, tell your baby daddy to come through. We doing sex magic rituals tonight. It's going down. Baby daddy, come through. One's in the chat. We up out of here, man. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful full moon. Peace to the tribe.
Woo!
You are traveling with the Hood Mystic. Time to tap in now. You are now tapped in with the Hood Mystic. Your favorite mystic's favorite mystic. Your favorite astrologer's favorite astrologer.